We're doing a speed run of taking off the wheel of the 2003 Hyundai Accent GL. We've got the passenger side front with those rubber chocks there. I've got my jack stand, my jack, a handle from the jack, half-inch breaker bar, and 21mm socket. So I'm just going to put those on there and gently break each one of them. It shouldn't pop at all, because I regularly take these off. Alright, now that those have been gently but firmly loosened, I'm going to jack the thing up on the jack stand. And then slowly lower it onto the jack stand. Just feather touch. Alright. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to bump the car, make sure it's not going anywhere. And now we will loosen the rest of these with our 21mm socket on a half-inch breaker bar. Okay, so now that we've taken off the lug nuts, we're going to put them in here for safekeeping. I propped the tire underneath there, and I'm only going to remove that if I really have to, because I want a double fail-safe in case both of these fail. Now I'm going to take a pair of safety goggles, because there's going to be a lot of dust, rusty dust, and a mask, because again, I don't want to breathe in dust from brakes and stuff. So also Fisher brand brush, stainless steel. I've also got a smaller one in here for getting the nooks and crannies. I'm gonna need these. Okay, and I'm gonna need not that, a scrapey tool and a hammer, and you will see why. Where's my other scrapey tool? Aha, definitely will need this. So yeah, this is in a pretty stinking dusty, rusty condition. So I'm going to scrape off some of the rust while it's on there, and then take it off and scrape off more of the rust. Alright, so just for demonstration purposes, I'm showing you how just a few seconds worth of work has made this a little bit better. So basically I just continue that for like 20 minutes or something. This should come off easily because they did not put in little machine screws that are supposed to hold this into place like they were supposed to. So I can just take this off, but I have to use both hands to do it. Okay, we've got the rotor off, and we're going to measure it, just the inside dimension. It should be a maximum of 205.2 millimeters per the thingy that it says right stinking there. This might be a problem. No, it's not. It's right at 205. 205, it's supposed to be 205.2. It's got plenty of space. Alright, so I'm just going to continue scrubbing that thing. And this is the bigger project, because look at this. You see how brittle this is? Very. Or at least how flaky it is. I just completely took this one off of the other one. I don't know if that's what I'll do with this one, but that's what it looks like. So I'm going to observe very carefully each component in this, and I'm going to put it back on exactly as it appears right now. You can see the parking brake thingy is back in there. There's that springy thingy. These go in those little hooks, and not in the holes. These holes are not used. That hole is not used. That hole is not used. This hole is not used. This hole is not used. They're not used for anything. They're just there for reasons.
Making a little bit of progress. At least, you know, the goal is just to get the flakiest stuff out. Any peeling paint off of it. Gonna try to wipe down the inside of this maybe. Alright, so I just sprayed this down with some brake cleaner and a cloth, just a regular cloth, not microfiber or anything. So it's looking better. This part really wasn't the rusty part, it's just all this. I've decided that I'm just going to take off this stuff before I start working on the assembly backer thingy for the drums. So I'm going to take this and this off first. No, actually, I'm going to spin this thingy up. So you see that little gear down in there? That is going to spin up and it will tighten that bronzy looking thing, this thing that's behind the spring. It'll tighten that up and it'll make it easier for me to get these springs off. So I've spun this thingy up going this way. So it's going like this as far as it'll go, and now it's like tightened. So I can take that out. The first piece I want to take out, because really there's probably several pieces that I could take out first, but I want to get rid of this one. But I wanted to point out that there is a small depression at the end of this thing. And I want to make sure that I'm putting this back exactly as it appears. Short side is facing this way towards the front. The long end is going this way towards the back. Same with the spring. Short end towards the front, long end towards the back. So this little piece, it's fitted into a slot on this thing. So I want to make sure that when I put this back together, that is there. I don't know what this one is supposed to look like, so I'm gonna, just gonna have to wait and see. So first, I'm going to take that little spring off with a pair of needle nose pliers. Well, I got the little springy off, but I can't get this little piece off without taking off this, and I can't get this off without taking off this, and these are too tight, so I can't do it without taking off these thingies, which is why I have this one tool, which I'll probably never use for anything else other than to get these off. So you push on this, twist it counterclockwise, and those come off. Okay, so all I did was push this onto the little thingy and wiggle it back and forth until it comes out. It's slotted, right? So that slot matches up with this thingy. I'll just take it out so you can look at it. Matches up with this. Focus, please. Focus, please. This thing. So this goes over this, and then there's a spring that goes in between them. So this thing goes through back of the assembly, through the brake shoe on this spot, and then this thingy, convex side towards it, lines up with it, and then you twist it 90 degrees one way or the other, it doesn't matter, and that locks it into place. So now I can get these off, and I can probably get this thing off, maybe without taking off the spring. We will see. I don't expect I will though. I'm probably going to take this spring off first and see if I can get to it from there, because just basically what I want to do is preserve what it looks like so I can see at least how it is. Maybe this isn't even right the way that they've got this set up, but I at least want to see how they've got it set up. Alright, trying to get the springs off isn't working, so I'm just going to go for this. Alright, so basically what I did was I just kind of stuck the thing in between there and there, pried it out some. That allowed the little clippy thingy to get loose. Then I spread it apart even more. That allowed the adjuster thingy right here to fall down. So now it's loose enough that I can actually just easily take these springs off of this thing. All right, with a lot of wiggling, I was able to get both of the springs off. Basically what I was doing was closing them this way, like folding them out like that, and so the springs could get loose. I'm assuming that they used royal purple grease on this stuff, which is fine. I have brake caliper grease, so I'm going to be using that kind of grease. But this thing goes out like that, and this right here, that's the parking brake. It's a spring, it's not hydraulic. Notice the sections of the parking brake spring, little spacer washer thingy. Then there is a metal hex thingy on the end there. So what you do is you just slide this towards that opening, see, and then that slides off like that. So now I'm gonna go through and clean all of this stuff. By the way, this does nothing. There's a rubber thingy right here. I don't want to scratch that up, so I'm gonna pop that out. And I might just leave this here. This one's not as bad as it was on the driver's side. Oh, by the way, this thingy, when it fell out, I was not able to see how it was lined up. So it's a mystery. That's probably as good as... Focus, please. That is at least how the front side was set up. I don't know about this side, but I guess I'm just going to keep it like that. So you know how I was saying, like, maybe I'll just leave this because it wasn't as bad as the driver's side? This is what this looks like. Alright, you know what this is? This is getting ready to just break off. I can do this with my fingers. I shouldn't be able to do this. This is like aluminum or something. Maybe this part up here is better adhered, so I'll leave it into place. But this is just like a hazard. All this is going to do is like break loose, and then it's going to make a big grinding noise. Like, what is this even for? I don't know. I've been driving around with this thing, without this thing on the driver's side, on the rear, and it seems like it's fine, so I don't think it's, like, critical. If somebody else says it is, then maybe they're right, but I haven't seen any evidence of that myself, personally. And I don't think the bearing on this needs to be changed out. Although, ow. See, it's like, I don't know how much of this noise is just from brake dust getting into, you know, kind of the gap in there, and how much of it is maybe this bearing is bad or going bad. I don't know. Leave comments maybe if it is, but I'm just going to pry off all the stuff that's not firmly adhered to this, and then try to shape it so that it's not causing a problem, like if it's bent out of shape either. Alright, so it turns out that whole lip thingy was falling apart, so I just took it off. This is after using this thingy, just a pry bar and a hammer to get off the flaky rust, and also my scraper thingy, and also a big brush, and also a small brush. So now I'm going to spray it with some brake parts cleaner, and hopefully it'll look a little bit shinier. Now we're going to apply grease to the indicated areas, which is the shoe backing plate contact surfaces and shoe and anchor plate contact surfaces. So I know where those are because they're the shiny parts, or at least the vertical parts. So the shiny parts, or at least smoother parts, are right here, here, right here, and where it contacts, right here. I'm just gonna put it over this whole thing. You probably won't be able to see it, but this thing, here, and here, and here. So as I'm reassembling this stuff, I'm going to just continue putting the caliper grease on all this stuff. For some reason, this little lever thingy is tighter on the other one that I put on than it is on this. Oh well. I guess they just don't do quality assurance that much with their thingies. Like, I had to, you know, manually tug on it in order to get it out like that. This one just moves freely, so who knows. But yeah, like anything that contacts, like this spot, and this spot, the ends right here, I'm going to be putting caliper grease on those too. So when I'm reassembling this, it's sort of the same thing as backwards. Also, like when I'm putting the parking brake thingy on, this thing, after I just like touch that up with one of the stainless steel wire brushes, I'm going to put some caliper grease on that too. Alright, so you can see where I've put that stuff right now. I've avoided putting it on the boot because I do not want the grease to degrade the boots, the dust covers. I'm probably going to be putting it on all my parts as I'm putting them back on, just because I don't know what's supposed to get grease and what's not, so why not just put it on everything. Alright, so I finally got everything back together. I would just say my previous idea of greasing everything up beforehand is not the best idea. And the reason why is because there is so much wrestling you'll end up doing with this that you're risking just kind of scraping off a lot of the stuff, and it's just going to end up on the brake pads and stuff. So you know, you can still kind of squeeze these around after they're mostly together. So I would just put the grease on then rather than now. This is what it's supposed to look like. Everything is back together. There is one thing that I would say is generally speaking pretty handy, and that is putting this in here and leveraging it either against this bolt, see down here, this bolt, or against the, not the hub, but the thing beside the hub. See how I'm doing this? This little secret here is how you're going to end up getting this piece and the adjuster back together. I found out from the other side that when you get brand new brakes, and your rotor isn't completely worn out, its default, like its starting thing, will be with this thing pushed all the way in, like the adjuster pushed all the way in. So you don't need to spin this thing down or up, just leave it in its tightest position. All right, so I'm going to put the rotor back on and the wheel back on and everything. The lug nuts get a 74 foot-pound torque on them, and that's pretty much all you need to know.